Most Americans say that they will not let the coronavirus ruin their holiday festivities. A new CBS poll shows more than 80% of people surveyed have not canceled their plans due to the emergence of the new Omicron variant. But as CBS News national correspondent Mark Strassmann tells us, new cases are not taking a holiday.
Call it Thanksgiving's COVID hangover. Average number of cases up 37% from last week. Hospitalizations rising in at least 42 states. Deaths up almost 30%. By next weekend, the CDC predicts up to another 1 million Americans could be infected, with December's biggest COVID worry still ahead: Christmas. A CBS News poll says that over the holiday season, despite the threat from both strains, 2/3 of Americans still plan to gather with friends and families. More than half will travel by car or dine in a restaurant. Just 1 in 5 say they've canceled plans because of Omicron. This is Grand Rapids, one of the nation's hotspots last holiday season. Michigan's now seeing an even higher number of cases, and that number is rising. The state's chief medical officer calls the situation critical.
Cases are surging, hospitals are full, and we have a new variant.
Military medics have jumped in the COVID front lines, 11 teams in 5 states. Other reinforcements in this fight: people getting booster shots, a new record average, more than 900,000 a day. Starting tomorrow, New York State has an indoor mask mandate for anywhere without a vaccination requirement.
I have to protect people, but also the economy.
An economy that suddenly feels vulnerable. The inflation rate is up almost 7% from this time last year, the highest annual increase in almost 40 years. Everything's up since last year: home prices, groceries, gas, which leaves COVID America coming to terms with a different kind of sticker shock.
For more, let's bring in CBS News reporter and researcher Max Baer. Hey there, Max. Let's start with the basics. What do we know right now about the Omicron variant and the risks that it possesses?
Hey, Lana, thank you so much for having me on. So two or three big takeaways here right now of the Omicron variant. One is that initial data suggests it has significant transmissibility, and that there's evidence to suggest that it can outcompete the Delta variant in a given population. Also, it has an increased risk to reinfection for people who had the virus at one point and had built up some immune response, and that also vaccine effectiveness takes a hit primarily for 2 doses of the vaccine.
Well, what are we still trying to learn about this variant?
Well, there have been a lot of headlines and there's been a lot of news about the potential for this variant being less severe, but we still need to learn more about that, and I think that the jury is still out about that. I think Professor Natalie Dean from Emory put it best, outlining how a virus or a variant that has increased risk of reinfection could kind of create this illusion of being less severe, when in reality its severity hasn't changed. There's just a larger share of the population that's less susceptible to severe illness. So I think there's much more that needs to be done, more research that needs to be done to actually see if this virus is, less severe. And similarly, more data is needed on the effects of memory B and T cells, which could have could impact the ability of the virus to create severe illness in people. So I think really, as it pertains to the virus's ability for those who were reinfected or have the vaccine to create severe illness is what we need to learn more about.
Yeah, I know a lot of people were really hoping that researchers would say this one's less severe, but in the meantime, we do know that it is highly transmissible, and a recently published Israeli study supports findings from Pfizer that its vaccine and booster shots provide strong protection against Omicron. Max, do we know how well the other vaccines hold up against this variant?
Not quite yet, and I think, if there's any sort of silver lining right now, it's that in the past, Moderna tends to follow along the same lines as Pfizer, but the jury is still out as it pertains to Johnson & Johnson's ability to defend against this variant, and there had already been questions about whether or not the Johnson & Johnson vaccine should have been a 2-dose vaccine from the get-go, right around the time that there was discussions about its booster. So more data is necessary on that, but that will be coming out in the coming weeks.
And health experts are also stressing the importance of providing vaccines across all countries and communities. Give us the latest on the international vaccine efforts and how far away is the goal of vaccine equity?
Oh, well, the second part of that question is definitely is open-ended, and I'd say we are far from that goal. I mean, much of the continent of Africa remains significantly under-vaccinated, and I think, there were a lot of people in the global health equity field that were criticizing efforts by, I don't know if efforts is the right word, but criticizing policies from wealthier nations that shut down flights to southern Africa in the wake of the Omicron variant, because that limited the ability of resources to get there as we even learn more about the variant. So, I think global vaccination efforts need to ramp up significantly, not just in terms of donating doses, but getting doses into arms. COVAX, which is the international vaccination effort with the World Health Organization, has had to reduce down its goals over the course of this year. So there's certainly more work that needs to be done. Global health experts also would say that it's important that we waive intellectual property rights, because that could allow some less wealthy nations to try and produce this vaccine on their own. I think some of the vaccine manufacturers might say as a counterargument, well, all of the resources are already going to create the amount of vaccines that there are. But again, I think this is going to be an all-hands-on-deck effort nonetheless. So I think in terms of achieving some overarching goal on vaccine equity, which would look like vaccinating a much larger share of the population in some less wealthier nations than already has been vaccinated, we are far away from that, and there's much more work that needs to be done in 2022.
Certainly, and even if just from a self-interested perspective, we know that this vaccine travels, so what affects people in one country can affect us all. Max, one last question to you. According to a recent CBS News poll I mentioned, only about 1 in 5 Americans are canceling plans because of the Omicron variant. We also know that Delta is behind the latest rise in cases. What are health experts saying about vaccinated people gathering with family and friends for the holidays?
Well, health experts have really echoed that if you're vaccinated, you should feel relatively safe about gathering with your friends and family this holiday season. And I think even though more data is coming out about the Omicron variant, that hasn't really changed in the last week and a half or so. I do think it's important for people to recognize, especially if you plan to gather with some older family members, people who are older 60, 70, and certainly in their 80s, or people who are immunocompromised. Increasing other mitigation measures would be important, especially with the potential spread of the Omicron variant. And that could look like, wearing masks if you aren't eating at that moment. It could mean opening up windows. If you have the ability to include some air purifiers in your home, that would be important. We know this virus spreads through the air. And so I think that if you are planning to meet with people who are at higher risk of severe illness, even if they are vaccinated, as many mitigation measures as you can put into place, the better.
Yeah, and taking tests for everybody before the new
Absolutely.
groups gather. Always recommended as well. All right, Max, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.